Hello wrestling fans and welcome to another edition of Tag Team. I am your host, the Invincible E, Vincent. Caesar Scorpio is off tonight. Tonight's TNA Impact was actually pretty action-packed. It was even more word-packed. They were going on and on about pretty much setting up the new angles that they're going to be going with after the championships that changed hands and the championships that didn't change hands at TNA Turning Point this past weekend. Starting off, they had Bobby Roode came out. He came out to the ring to the boos of the crowd. He says that he's embarrassed that he had ever associated himself with a group like Fourtune, and that he was going to be breaking his ties with them, and they should have known that it was inevitable, that at some point he was going to have to scrape them off the bottom of his shoe. James Storm comes out and says that he's not going to be standing in Bobby Roode's shadow. He demands to know why Bobby Roode jumped him in the back room before their last match. Bobby Roode says that he didn't jump him, and he can prove it. There was a bunch of people in the locker room. He was in the locker room all day, and a bunch of people saw him there, so there was no way that he could have done it. Storm says that he's going to find out who did it, but in the meantime, he still wants to beat the crap out of Bobby Roode. He tries to attack Bobby Roode. Security comes out. They keep him separated. And finally, AJ Styles comes out. He just came off of a match with Bobby Roode at Turning Point, and he says, "So it's come to this. Not only are you breaking away, you're going to throw, all this shade on Fourtune as well." Bobby Roode said, "Hey, listen, you had your shot. I beat you. Get to the back of the line. Nobody's getting this belt away from me, etc." This goes on for a little while. Sting comes out. And he says, he tells Bobby Roode that, as a matter of fact, since he's in charge now, not only will AJ Styles get another shot at him, he's going to get another shot at him at the next pay-per-view. Also, let's see, it's actually going to be a 30-minute Iron Man match. Whoever gets the most pinfalls during the 30 minutes wins the match at Final Resolution coming up. So they have at least one match set for the next pay-per-view, so there you go. Now, while after this goes on, Bobby Roode actually gets out of the ring. Dixie Carter is sitting in the front of the crowd. He confronts Dixie Carter. He's actually getting in her face and grabbing on her. About how Sting is running the company, etc. AJ Styles runs to defend her. And it winds up that Bobby Roode shoves her. AJ Styles catches her from falling, but then Bobby Roode attacks AJ Styles from behind, and basically Dixie Carter hits the ground. AJ is splashing her on the ground, with his back to her, and Bobby Roode's just beating on her, and rather beating on AJ Styles. So there's way more involvement than Dixie Carter ever wanted in this situation. AJ. Let's see, So this goes on. They go to commercial. When it comes back, or actually before they go to commercial, Samoa Joe talks to James Storm, and he says that it definitely wasn't Bobby Roode that did it, because he saw Bobby Roode in the back, confirming what Bobby Roode said. So it wasn't him that attacked him last week. Samoa Joe says, it wasn't him either, because if he was, he would have left James Storm knocked out and bleeding. He wouldn't have gotten up. At that point, James Storm attacks him. They fight back and forth until Devon and Kazarian show up and break it up. After the commercial, Sting confronts Bobby Roode for putting hands on Dixie Carter the way he did, and he said, putting hands on her is like putting hands on me. And Bobby Roode says, "Hey, if you try to attack me or do anything like that, I'll sue you. I'll sue you." Like Christian. Moving on, they break away, and the first match starts. This is between Robbie E versus Devon for the TV championship. This is the TV championship that Robbie E was able to win away from Eric Young at TNA Turning Point with a little bit of help from Rob Terry. Devon got control early in this match. He basically putting a lot of power moves on Robbie E, outsizing him and using his weight against him. Robbie E gets thrown out of the ring at one point. The Pope, who's on the side for basically for moral support, taunts Robbie E. Robbie E pushes him. The Pope slaps him in the face. Don't slap a man. Robbie E. Gets thrown back into the ring, and while they're watching that, Rob Terry comes around the ring and Double Axe handles the Pope. Now Terrence and Terrell, Devon's sons, they go to try and help him. Devon is distracted with them, and while he's distracted, Robbie E is actually able to roll him up and get the win, thus retaining the TV title. And just more static going on while they're trying to help the Pope. Moving on, Sting talks to Mad Morgan and Crimson about going toe-to-toe with Mexican America for the tag belts tonight. This is basically because the bulk of the tag teams have broken up. Beer Money just split up. Bully Ray and Devon aren't together anymore. The tag this section of the TNA right now is kind of parched, so might as well have this match with Matt Morgan and Crimson rather. Matt Morgan and Christian. Moving on, they agree to go ahead and have the match, and then we cut out over to Ric Flair and Eric Bischoff. Sting is confronting them, telling him that yes, he rewrote Eric Bischoff's contract, but Eric Bischoff laughs and says he never agreed that he would sign the rewritten contract. Sting points out that he knew that he was going to be crafty about it, and since he was going to be crafty about it, he told him that due to the earlier conversation that he had with Garrett Bischoff, saying that Garrett Bischoff wanted another shot at Gunner, he's going to go ahead and grant Garrett's wish, and so put that in your pipe and smoke at Eric Bischoff. And this match is set for tonight. Moving on to the second match of the night, this was Kid Cash and Austin Aries versus Jesse Sorensen and Brian Kendrick. Now, Kid Cash and Austin Aries, not quite on the same terms that they were before Turning Point, because exactly what I said was going to happen happened. Austin Aries was going to let Kid Cash do all the heavy lifting, and once he had Jesse Sorensen on the ropes, Austin Aries was going to swoop in for the win, and he did, thus retaining his title. Now, in this match, this started out with Jesse Sorensen and Kid Cash going toe-to-toe. Sorensen was actually on fire through the early portion of this match. He was all over Kid Cash. And when Kid Cash tried to tag out, Austin Aries wouldn't accept the tag out. This was, this went on for a little while. Jesse Sorensen actually wound up getting a pretty impressive bridging suplex on Kid Cash, among other things, and also ended the match by getting a twisting neck breaker against Kid Cash. Again, all the while during this match, Austin Aries tagged himself in a couple of times, but tagged himself right back out when he didn't want to deal with the issues, and he eventually actually walked away from the match, leaving Kid Cash all by his lonely. And Brian Kendrick got in some footwork on Kid Cash as well. So yeah, Kid Cash, take a lesson. You got to be careful who you partner up with. Austin Aries is out for Austin Aries and nobody else. Moving on to the next match, or actually, before that, prior to the next match, Karen Jarrett and Madison Rayne and Tracy Brooks are all in the back, along with Gail Kim, preparing for the next match, which is going to be the knockouts match, the 10-woman knockouts match, in order to find out who's going to be the #1 contender for to go against Gail Kim next. Now, Karen Jarrett was sending out Madison Rayne for this match. Tracy Brooks, gotta give it up for Tracy Brooks. She wore another one of those blouses with a nice sunroof in it. Gotta love that. This match went on. Velvet Sky and Rosita were actually the first contenders out, or the first contestants out rather. During this match, Velvet Sky won the go around with the Rosita. Brooke Tessmacher came in. Again, Velvet Sky won against her. Angelina Love came in, and Angelina Love got the best of Velvet Sky. Mickie James came in and basically ran the table from there. She went against Sarita, Tara, Winter, ODB, and finally Madison Rayne. And Mickie James wound up coming out the winner, and she's now the #1 contender. A pretty good match. Mickie James, at one point, I gotta say this, against Sarita, that gigantic DDT that she does didn't go quite right and went sideways, so hopefully Sarita's neck is okay. But other than that, pretty good match. Moving on from there, James Storm's continuing his quest in the back to find out who attacked him from the back. He confronts Bully Ray. Bully Ray says it wasn't him, but he knows the person who did it is there tonight. Bully Ray also asks him, why doesn't he join up with Immortal so they can get some power back? Seeing as how Fourtune is falling apart, might as well come on over to Immortal. They could use another good guy. Storm says that the chances of that are about the same chances of Bully Ray getting laid, which it didn't look like it was going to happen. Bully Ray was berating some lady with orange hair prior to James Storm coming up. So yeah, that's his approach. Doing it wrong, Chief. Moving on, Jeff Hardy comes out. He's high-fiving the fans, thanks them for sticking by him, and promises that he's going to stick by the fans. He's interrupted by not Jeff Jarrett, but Karen Jarrett. She comes out to the ring, starts berating his manhood, telling him that she's got bigger balls than him, which may come as a surprise to Jeff Jarrett. But she goes on and on to say that not only that, but she knew secrets about him from his wife, that she was all friendly with his wife, but she found out that he couldn't get the job done, etc., when he was on the drugs or whatever, and basically, trying to emasculate him in front of the crowd. But this was really all a setup for Jeff Jarrett to come in, or tried to come in behind him with the Mega Champion belt to try to clock him. Didn't quite work. Jeff Hardy saw it coming and took Jeff Jarrett to task with it. They went around for a little bit, but nothing really came of it. At the point where Jeff Hardy was beginning to get the upper hand in the match, Jeff Jarrett and Karen Jarrett made their exit, and we move on to the next match, which was the tag team match between Mexican America and Matt Morgan and Crimson. This was for the tag title. Mexican America was leaning on Crimson for the majority of this match. He was getting sort of ran over. At one point, when Matt Morgan did tag in, he turned the tide and was able to get the carbon footprint on Anarchia to get the pin and the win. It was a clean match. There was no interference by Rosita and Sarita, so the winners were Matt Morgan and Crimson for the tag title. Who knew? Who knew there were going to be a tag title? I know they were all palsy-walsy and whatnot, but yeah, I guess they're a tag team now. Moving on, Garrett Bischoff and Gunner had the next match. And now Ric Flair and Eric Bischoff were in Gunner's corner, and Sting was in Garrett's corner just to keep things sort of fair. Garrett actually started out strong again, showing these skills that nobody knew he had before a few weeks ago. Gunner was able to outmuscle him because he's just plain bigger. But Eric Bischoff did in fact interfere and hooked Garrett's leg while Gunner speared him into the corner. Now Garrett did manage to win this match after getting a surprise DDT on Gunner that pretty much nobody saw coming. So yeah, the winner of this match turned out to be Garrett Bischoff. Now James Storm is still looking around for his attacker. He comes out and says that he's going to blame everybody in the back, just everybody. But he's going to start with AJ Styles. Now AJ comes out, he's still kind of busted up from what went on with him and Bobby Roode earlier in the night. So he's like, really? Are you serious? You're coming at me with this? Like, for the last time, no, it wasn't me. I didn't do it, and this is the last time I want to talk about it. James Storm grabbed up on him. They were getting ready to get into it. Security came out, separated them, and as James Storm is walking away, guess who pops up out of the ground but Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle gets James Storm from behind. Dog walks him back to the ring. Bumping his face on the stairs a couple of times before he gets him in the ring. And while he gets him in the ring and he's still rolling around on the ground, nursing a new concussion apparently, Kurt Angle tells him that it was him, that he can go home and tell his little girl that it was Kurt Angle who gave him the concussion. And that's the way the show ended. So it sets a whole lot of things up for next week. We'll see what happens, but that's what happened tonight on TNA's Impact. For myself, the Invincible E. Vincent, and the absent Caesar Scorpio. Take care.